Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love college football as much as I do. I'm looking forward to doing this season prediction video. It's not going to take long necessarily. If you, by the way, if you guys notice in my prediction videos, I try to match the shirt or jersey matching the same conference for the team that I'm covering. And right now I'm wearing a Texas jersey because guess who they're playing in 2024? Now, let's talk about Georgia. This is a very favorable schedule for these guys. Actually, they have 5 road games. I consider Florida a road game because it's in Jacksonville. It's basically Florida's house. They start their season off with 2 very easy games: Tennessee, Martin, and then they have Ball State at home. They actually start off with 4 home games. I think they win those games no problem. Probably have the backups in by the end of the second quarter, mid-second quarter in that game. South Carolina is probably their first tough game of the season. I consider it a tough game because South Carolina is a team that's improving. Now, hold on. Good pre-workout. I think South Carolina will be a pretty good football team this year. They'll be a formidable opponent for anybody. I just don't think they quite have the firepower to play or to beat a team like Georgia. Low key, this game might be a little competitive. I mean, Spencer Rattler has experience playing SEC teams. With Oklahoma, he just had a whole year with the SEC. He won most of his games last year. I do think he'll improve this year in terms of having less interceptions now that he's been in college for a while now. I think he's a senior, right? Junior or senior, one of those. This is 4th year, so he's a senior. But I just don't think talent-wise they can beat Georgia. I do think this game has the potential to be pretty competitive for a little while, but I have Georgia winning this game 38-17. I think they pull away in this game and run up the score a little bit. I just don't think Spencer Rattler can go the whole 4 quarters without turning it over because Georgia's an elite football team. They got great athletes, and they're just hungry to go for a three-peat. You know, that's historic right there. Georgia can do it. Then they play UAB at home. They should win that game. This Auburn game I have circled, not because I think they can lose this game, and not necessarily because I think Auburn's going to be an elite team this year. However, while I do think Auburn is going to be a lot better with Hugh Freeze because he's a winning coach, I do think this will be a pretty good game. A lot of teams, when Auburn's a good team, not when Harson's was there, but when Auburn was a really good football team, they always give anybody a hard time when those teams have to come play Auburn at Auburn. Auburn has won a lot of games at home that they shouldn't have won when they're a good team. You can ask Alabama and Nick Saban about that. They've won 2 of the last 3 Alabama games in the Iron Bowl there in Auburn. And I picked them to beat Bama this year at home. However, I do think Georgia wins this game. This will be a lower scoring, physical, hard-nosed football game. I have Georgia winning 23, maybe 26-13. I've already done a season prediction with Auburn. This will be a pretty good game. Auburn already has pretty good football players. They just needed a coach that knows what he's doing. That's my opinion. Auburn. They're always hard-nosed, fun to watch. If you like football, hard-nosed hitting football with good defenses, I think Auburn will have a pretty good defense this year just because Hugh Freeze knows what he's doing and he's a winning coach. Then they play Kentucky at home. They should win that game, no problem. I don't think Devin Leary, that's the quarterback, right? Yeah, Devin Leary from NC State. I don't think he'll be great in this first year after the injury. I mean, that's just my opinion. A lot of players aren't the same after a serious injury like he had. Then they go to Vanderbilt. They should win that game, no problem. I know Vanderbilt. It's a shame teams like Vanderbilt, who have 5 and 7 years last year, and by no means is that good, but the fact that they don't ever get any talent and they can win some games when they're only picked to win 1 or 2 games, whatever it was last year, it's a shame that they don't, because teams with talent end up with the same record as Vanderbilt, if not worse, like Texas A&M. But I'm a Texas fan. Of course, I'm going to take a shot at A&M. I don't care about them. I do think that Georgia wins that game. Then I think they had the bye week. Then they have to go play Florida and Jacksonville. While I think Florida will be an improved team defensively, and I don't think offensively they'll be terrible, I think Georgia is still miles ahead of Florida. They should win this game without any kind of issues if they play turnover free. You remember last year they had some turnovers and Florida was only down by 8 points at one point and Georgia had to pull away when they really should have won the game more than that. Then they play Missouri at home. I don't think it'll be as competitive as last year. I do think Georgia beats them no problem. I do have this Ole Miss game circled also. Again, not because I'm picking them to lose. Ole Miss is going to be a pretty good football team this year. They are hungry. Now that Lane Kiffin is certain he ain't going anywhere, I think Ole Miss's defense will be a lot better this year than what it has been. and I think their offense will be more balanced. They were run heavy last year. I think their passing game will be more reliant and will be better. However, because this game is in Athens, I have Georgia winning this game by 10 points or less. It should be a competitive game. Ole Miss is not a pushover when they show up at their best. And the last two games are on the road. They will beat Georgia Tech. They should beat Tennessee. While I do believe Tennessee defensively will be improved. And what makes Tennessee's defense somewhat tough to deal with some teams is they are a physical team. Their line of scrimmage isn't an issue. It's just the pass defense that was horrible last year. It won't matter. I do think they'll be better. Georgia should beat them by 2 touchdowns or more. I think they'll pull away in this game. See, Tennessee got dominated last year. You can look at the score. I think it was a 2-touchdown loss. It should have been worse than that. Georgia had some turnovers in that game too. And I think Tennessee won't be able to repeat offensively the success they had with Hendon Hooker. You only get one time to look that good the way that it did. I don't think it's going to be better. It'll still be good, and I don't think Tennessee's going to have the defense to play. So this is my first team I'm picking to go undefeated in the regular season. If Georgia plays turnover free, if they play disciplined football like they have, and they don't let the head swell up from winning back-to-back natties, they should have no problem being 12-0 and most likely go 15-0 again until they meet Bama or somebody else with just as much talent and shows up and plays a really good game. So, yeah, Georgia should go 12-0 in the regular season, no problem.